Hi, I'm Sharon. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where we're working together step by step through each of the ABRSM theory grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you visit sharonbale.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets and you can download those in US letter or A4 and they accompany each step of this series to help you. You'll find a page there with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also find out about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and hints on how to best prepare for your exam and also how to make the best use of your time when you're actually working through your exam paper. So if you go to sharonbale.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can like, subscribe and share my channel, that would be great. And now we're going to carry on with 2018 practice paper B of the grade 2 practice papers. So if you turn with me to page 8, we can carry on with question 3. So we're looking at intervals here. And so there's a few clues that they've given us. They've done a lot of the thinking for us. They've said after each note, so the notes come one after the other. We're counting higher because we always count upwards. And it comes afterwards because it's a melodic interval. Remember, melodic intervals come one after the other, like in a melody. A harmonic interval comes together as a chord or harmony. And so if you're not sure, even still after all of that, just follow their example and lay out the notes exactly as they've done, and that will be correct. The first answer is given. Now the only way you can possibly go wrong here is if you forget to count the first degree of the scale. We're counting line space, counting in steps up this stave, this ladder system. We're counting in steps up the degrees of the scale, but we always count the first degree of the scale as note 1. If you forget to count 1 and continue on upwards first of all, then you'll be one step out each time. And one way to avoid that, if you want to, we're in E minor. So if we count up from E, give yourself one octave. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8. E to D is a 7th. Now here, of course, it's a D sharp because we know in the minor scale we raise the 7th going upwards, but that shouldn't put you off. It doesn't change the fact that it's a 7th. We're just counting up 7. The sharp doesn't change the fact that it's the 7th degree of the scale. So let's carry on now with this next one. Now we're quite high up in the treble clef, so we're going to need some ledger lines, so be careful that you don't lose track of your spaces and lines. Counting the E, the given note is 1, 2, 3, 4 is the line, 5 is the space sitting on that line. And we've gone E, F, G, A, B, and we can see that B is a 5th, so we know that's correct. Now we write down in the bass clef, but the principle is exactly the same. Here is E, 1, 2, 3, E, F, G, and notice I'm putting them notes one after the other, so it's definitely a melodic interval. Give yourself plenty of space there. So E, F, G we can see is a 3rd. So we're really high up now. We've already got ledger lines to start with. So we're starting from E. So there's our C, D, E is the first, F is the 2nd. So we've gone from line to space and we can see that we're a 2nd. Now here we have an E and we need to write an octave, which of course will be E, but we need to make sure we're in the same the correct octave, only 8 steps away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's our octave. So let's now count from this lower E in the bass clef. And we're counting a 6th, so I suspect we'll need a ledger line. So we've counted from space, line, space, so on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the space, 6 is going to need a ledger line for the next step. And we've gone from E to C, and we can see that C is a 6th, and so we know that's correct. So there we go, that's that completed. It's not too difficult at all if you just take it a stage at a time. Let's press on to question 4. So question 4 asks us to write these time values in the correct order from the shortest to the longest. They've started us off, so I'm going to just cross that off. And we know when there's 2 little tails, that's a semiquaver, and it's become shorter. So the next one is going to be one with 1 tail, that's your quaver, but we need to decide between this one and this one. We know that a dot makes the note half as long again, so this is longer by half than this one. So just a plain old quaver or 8th note is next. And so now we go a tiny bit longer by adding a dot. So the dot makes it half as long again, so with a dot. Now then we're going to go to from quavers to some form of crotchet, so with no stem at all but coloured in. Now we have no crotchet on its own, but a dotted crotchet is still shorter than a minim, so we'll have that one next. So that's that one done with. Now we have to decide between these two. A minim is 2 beats, and then a dot after a note makes it half as long again, so that's another beat longer, that's 3 beats. So we know that it's a plain old minim or half note next, and then the dotted note of course is longer and it's the longest. There we go, that's that one completed. Now we're pressing on to question 5, which is some scales, and this is always one of my favourite sort of questions, because once you've got the information firmly lodged in your brain, if you just follow things a little stage at a time, it's very simple. Just being careful to read the question really is the main consideration. So we're dealing with A minor, so we need to first of all know that A minor is related to C major, and we need to decide which form of the minor scale we're using. I always recommend the harmonic minor form, which is the same ascending and descending. So we have a key signature of C major, plus we have to raise the 7th degree of the scale. So that's all of the thinking, and once you're secure in that knowledge, just a bit of revision there on those little principles. Now let's see what the question asks. We need to use semi-breves or whole notes, so that means we're not worrying about stems. We need to write 1 octave. We're going to do A minor descending, so we're coming down, no key signature. In actual fact, it wouldn't need one anyway, but regardless of that, no key signature, but we need to remember certain accidentals. So first of all, I'm just going to get the blobs in place, dealing with the nuts and bolts first, and then we can just add in all the extra little bits. So we need to start on top A because we're coming down. Good boys deserve football always. There's top A, space, line, space. Remember, scale means step, so we're literally stepping down the ladder of the stave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's an octave when we finished on A, so we know we've not gone wrong. A minor is related to C major, so there is no key signature to apply as an accidental. The only thing we need to do is raise the 7th. Don't forget we're counting backwards, so this is 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So here's the 7th, and we raise that by adding a sharp. The sharp comes before the note we need to know before we've played it, and then that's that. So this last one now, we're going to write B flat major. We're going to write it ascending with a key signature. We're in the treble clef. So B flat major has a key signature of B flats and E flats. So just a bit of revision to make sure you know your key signatures. We start low because we're going to climb up. So every good boy, there's B, line, space, line, space, line, space. So we need some ledger lines. Well, just one. There we go. B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, ending on F, G, A, B. That's correct. We've done our key signature, and so that's it. That's complete. We'll look at the next question in the next video. I do hope this is helpful to you. I hope you're starting to get to grips with this theory malarkey. If you can give me a like, that would be really fab. And please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more in store. Please do go to sharonbill.com and make use of all of the information that's available to you there. See you next time. Bye.